please indicate your presence when the machine is open. Following members are excused. Representative Goodrich. Nope, Representative Goodrich is here. Representative Manning, Representative Ledbetter, and Representative Morris. And Representative Van Adder. Hey, no way. Which is true. I got you, Greg.
Well, thank you, sir.
If all members voted, tie the roll. Roll call shows 92 members present. The chair declares quorum for conducting business. 2 housekeeping items before we begin the day. First of all, just want to note this year during the State House Day blood drive, the Red Cross collected a record-breaking 130 units, which could impact 300 lives. The House dominated and won by 2 units. A historic victory. Representatives from the Indiana Red Cross are here and presented the trophy to me on behalf of all of us. Please welcome Bryce Johnson, the interim regional CEO, Isis Chavari, regional communications director, Donna Watkins, Central Indiana district manager, and Sandra Ryden, the account manager. Thank you. Some information about the blood drive and its importance. The American Red Cross must collect enough blood every day to meet the needs of accident burn victims, heart surgery, and organ transplant patients, and those receiving treatment for leukemia, cancer, or sickle cell disease. Each day, the Red Cross needs to collect about 12,500 blood donations and nearly 3,000 platelet donations to meet the needs of patients at about 2,500 hospitals and other facilities across the country. About 62% of the U.S. population is eligible to give blood, but only about 3% donates. So we recognize the importance of the blood donation, and we're happy to help. And thank you to everyone associated with the House that helped us win the award. By the way, that's 3. This is our 4th consecutive year over the Senate. So we can always keep our rightful place on that one. Also want to welcome Dr. Chelsea Kuwuje from Ball Memorial Hospital in Muncie as our doctor of the day. House motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that when we do adjourn, we adjourn until March 21st, 2023 at 1.
Heard the motion in a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Those opposed, no. Motion is adopted. Chair seeks consent to take committee reports en masse. Chair hands down the following committee reports for adoptions. Senate Bill 43, Senate Bill 187, Senate Bill 277, Senate Bill 384. Committee reports.
Senate Bill 43, a bill for enactment in the Indiana Code concerning.
For the committee reports, is there any discussion? Chair sees none. The question is on the adoption of committee reports. Of those in favor will indicate by saying aye. Those opposed, no. Committee reports are adopted. Pursuant to House Rule 127, the chair announces that Senate Bill 187 is recommitted to the Committee on Ways and Means. Pursuant to House Rule 143-1, as they are eligible for second reading and there are no amendments filed at the request of the authors, the chair seeks consent of the members to engross the following bills: Senate Bill 71, Senate Bill 136, Senate Bill 158, Senate Bill 167, Senate Bill 286, Senate Bill 287, Senate Bill 301, Senate Bill 334, Senate Bill 345, Senate Bill 404, and Senate Bill 451. Consent. Chair hands down those bills on second reading.
Senate Bill 71, a bill for an act to amend the Indiana Code concerning criminal law.
The bills are ready for amendment, recommitment, or engrossment. Chair sees none. Bills are ordered to engrossment. Go back and pick up a few on the second reading calendar. Senate Bill 156, Representative Slager. Representative Slager passes. Senate Bill 472, Representative Morrison. Chair hands down on second reading Senate Bill 472.
Senate Bill 472, a bill for an act to amend the Indiana Code concerning environmental law.
Bill's ready for amendment, recommitment, or engrossment. Chair sees none. The bill's ordered to engrossment. We're going to begin third reading on the back of the calendar. So the chair recognizes Representative Rowray on Senate Concurrent Resolution 5. Chair hands down on final passage, Senate Concurrent Resolution 5.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members of the body.
Senate Concurrent Resolution number 5, a concurrent resolution urging.
The chair recognizes Representative Rowray to speak on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members of the body. I'm both honored as well as have a really troubled soul to bring before you Senate Concurrent Resolution number 5. The language urges the Indiana Department of Transportation to rename a section of State Road 13 in Madison County, beginning at 1795 South Anderson Street and ending 1 mile south on State Road 13 as the Officer Noah Jacob Shahnavaz Memorial Mile. I did a little research on, I'm going to call him Noah. I like things to be personal in this nature. Did a little bit of research on Noah. Noah's parents are here with us as well as his brother. And we're obviously going to be here to honor him today. Sure wish we weren't doing it in this fashion. Senator Gaskell brought this motion forward over in the Senate, and I'm grateful for him doing that. And I'm grateful to be able to partner with him in this honoring. Noah was born on May 18th, 1998 in Indianapolis, Indiana, and he grew up in Fishers, Indiana. He was 24 years old when he passed away. Noah's grandmother, who was referred to as Grand Barb, which I think that's pretty cool to have a fun name like that, wrote a poem for Noah in honor of his birth. I'm going to read you her poem. N is for noble, character strong. O is for open, helping others belong. A is for admired, respected, and true. H is for happiness, our wish for you. I looked at that poem and I thought, wow, she really saw into his future as far as being the type of person that would help others, because in my research I realized that that's exactly what this young man did. He was always helping others and always serving others. Noah attended high school and was a graduate of Fishers High School and participated in the marching band, the drum line, and he wrestled as well. Immediately upon graduation, he decided to serve others and joined the armed forces. He proudly served as sergeant in the United States Army in the 591st Military Police Company and was awarded the Air Assault Badge. He was deployed in the Middle East in 2017 and served in 2 border missions. In total, he served 5 years in the Army, and during this time in the Army, he met a friend who said that Noah will be remembered for being a natural leader and making others feel confident in their desires and in their goals. Yet again, thinking of others. When he came back, he was offered a position to serve with the Elwood Police Department in August of 2021, and he graduated from the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy in May of 2022. His family listed his hobbies as hiking and boating and gaming, what you would suspect of a 24-year-old young man. And he served his family and his community well until July 31st on a Sunday at around 2 a.m. He was killed making a routine traffic stop, and I'm not going to go into the specifics of that. I don't think we need to glorize anything that relates to something like this. He attended I-Town Church in Fishers, and because I knew he was a person of faith, I looked up the word servant and service and serving others and noted that it occurs, those three words occur over 1,100 times in the Bible in the New International Version. And realized that's exactly what this young man did his entire life. He found a way to serve others. At the funeral, his family asked the attendees to never forget Noah and noted, quote, "We should all seek to honor Noah's life and sacrifice by choosing to move forward, do hard things, and always strive to make the place a better world for others." Knowing that he was a person of faith, I would imagine that on Sunday, July 31st at 2 a.m., he heard the words, "Well done, good and faithful servant." We are joined here today by his parents, Matt and Lori, and his brother Elijah, and I chatted with them right before coming here and noted that the entire family is a family of serving folks. Noah's mother is an elementary education teacher, and I said, my gosh, that's crazy service in today's world, so we thank her. His sister Sarah is serving now in a courthouse in our community, in our state. Yet again, another member of the family serving. And Elijah has dreams of growing up and becoming a paramedic. So you can see where he got his servant's heart. It's from his family. You've asked us all to make sure that we don't forget Noah. We won't. I won't. I hope I never, ever stand up here in front of you all again and offer something like this. But I am today, and I'm asking for your support.
Thank you, Representative Rowray. For discussion on the resolution. Chair sees none. The question is on the final passage of the resolution. All those in favor will, when the machine is open, vote aye. Those opposed will vote no. Proud Fishers resident, I thank you for Noah's service and sacrifice. If all the members voted, tally the roll. Roll call shows 95 voting aye, 0 voting no. The resolution has been adopted. Shall the title of the resolution remain the same? Representative Rowray? I think I heard her say it shall. The clerk will inform the Senate of the passage of the resolution. Senate Bill 9, Representative Soliday. Chair hands down on third reading, Senate Bill 9.
Senate Bill 9, a bill for enactment of the Indiana Code concerning...
Chair recognizes Representative Soliday to speak on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House. Senate Bill 9, the underlying bill, which happens to be the back part of the bill, it only takes effect if a utility decides to close a power generating source earlier than is in their IRP. If they decide to do that, they have to notify the IURC, and then the IURC can decide whether to have an investigation. And if they do, they then have to look at whether the closure would impact reliability or reserve margins, and then whether whatever action they would take in closing would affect rates, and the adjustment would impact reliability or would be unreasonable or unjust to the customer. That's the underlying bill. The original bill was much more stringent. So basically, if a utility decides to shut down any kind of a plant earlier than their IRP says, then the IURC can step in and do an investigation and look at the things I just mentioned. The second part of the bill is actually at the beginning, and that deals with a problem that has occurred this year. First, the Supreme Court decided that utilities must have pre-approval before they can recover costs. So in the past, always the utilities were able to use an accounting process that is in the Phase B that says you can book them, difference between booking and approving. You may book those expenses like engineering, so forth and so on. And then when the IURC acts, they will look at those and decide whether they can they will grant you recovery from the ratepayers. So that is all covered in 1417, which is passed the House and is over in the Senate. So make no mistake, the price will be the same. It's just whether, is that for me? The price will be the same. The issue will be whether the utility is going to collect after they get done. After, it's clearly a bird I recognize, I just haven't identified it yet. Whether the utility will be able to collect later or earlier, because if the Supreme Court decision holds, the utilities are doing nothing until they get approval. So under 1417, tornado goes through, tears up a substation. Normally the utilities act, and then they book it, and the IURC decides whether that's okay or not. The appellate court then, about a month ago, always in the past, federal mandates have been treated the same way. The utility would do the engineering, they would do the legal work and say, here's what we need to do to comply. The appellate court said, no, we don't want that. We want you to have pre-approval for everything. Well, it's very hard to go in and ask for pre-approval when you have no idea what it's going to cost until you've had engineering. So let me just walk you through what the bill says, because I understand there's been some mailings go out. So on page 2, section 1, says federally mandated costs means the cost that an energy utility has incurred or estimates that will be incurred in connection with a compliance project, including capital, operating, maintenance, depreciation, tax, or financing costs, or costs that are directly related to the preparation and conduct of the regulatory proceeding. So they can book all of this stuff under the bill. They can book it over in deferred accounting. So then what happens if you go over to section 5 on page 3 at the bottom, it says as a condition of receiving a certificate required under this section, that's a certificate of public need and convenience, an application sets forth the information described in this section of this chapter and supported with technical information in as much detail as the Commission requires. An application under this section must be filed before or within a reasonable time with respect to any federally mandated compliance. So, even though they book it, they've done engineering and some of these compliance things are very complex. They've done all of the work, it's booked, they don't get the money. Then they go before the IURC, and the IURC can demand any amount of detail, and then the IURC decides what they can recover and what they cannot. The bill is really important. If we don't get it in place, we have 5 cases pending. This doesn't help that company that got caught in the adjudication. That's their problem, that is the law. It affects at least the 5 cases that are pending before the IURC. The language is requested by the IURC. I would really appreciate your support and happy to answer any questions.
For discussion on the bill, Representative Pierce speak on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House. This bill once again shifts the risk from the utility and their shareholders onto the backs of ratepayers. And it removes the requirement that the Utility Commission approve the method of complying with a federal mandate before the ratepayers, before it gets to the ratepayers' bill. Now, why is this important? In a pre-approval process, the utility needs to come forward and explain how it's actually going to comply with the mandate. That gives other interested parties the opportunity to ask whether that's the best path, because often these environmental regulations have multiple pathways to compliance. Oftentimes the EPA will say, meet this reduced level of emissions by a certain date. And there are different ways you can do that. I think that what we've seen from the Utility Commission is that when you allow these utilities to go ahead down one path unilaterally and then book these things onto their accounting as a regulatory asset, the Utility Commission is very reluctant at that point to say no. And so you're essentially, in this case, taking away an important opportunity to fully air what really is the best compliance path, as opposed to just arguing about, well, they chose the compliance path, they've already expended money, and now the question is, should they get reimbursed for that? You put the ratepayer in a much worse position in that scenario. The other thing to point out, too, is when it comes to natural disasters and just weather, when a general rate case comes along, the utilities already have a pretty good idea of when they're going to have your average tornado hit. I mean, they don't have a crystal ball, but they have a history, right? And they know how often they get hit by these more routine natural disasters, ice storms, wind storms, occasional tornado, and that is all built into the rate base, dealing with those. Where you would want them to be able to come in with this regulatory asset where they've just dealt with something put in the books is when you have an abnormal, unforeseeable natural disaster or a terrorist attack or something. So if you have a giant earthquake and the lower third of Indiana falls in the Ohio River, that's a very extraordinary event. And the utility is going to be able to come in and say, this was not considered in our rate base because who knew that was going to happen? And then you can discuss what to do with the regulatory asset that's there. So it doesn't make sense for us to take away this pre-approval requirement. That's the amendment that went into the bill in committee. The underlying bill itself also is not necessary and adds an unneeded extra level of bureaucracy. It's more government for no purpose, because what the bill presupposes is that a utility is going to make a decision against its own interest. So, for example, let's say that a utility decides to close a generating facility that wasn't already accounted for in its resource plan. And let's say that because of that decision, it was ill-advised, they can't meet the power needs of the state or of their customers. They're part of the state they serve. And there's a blackout or a brownout or something. What's going to happen to them? First of all, it's going to be a PR nightmare. The customer's going to be upset. Then we're going to get all upset and excited, and we're going to start doing stuff here. And most importantly, when you have a blackout or a brownout and you sell less or no power, guess what? The utility doesn't make any money. No utility wants to be in a position of not selling any kilowatt hours because they can't deliver the service. So the idea that a utility is going to do some ill-advised kind of spontaneous thing that results in less reliability, I don't think is a very likely outcome. And so what we've done now is we've added this extra governmental bureaucracy layer on top of the decision-making of the utility. And I don't think that's necessary. It's kind of a contrived concern, in my opinion. And when you add that along with this amendment, which is taking away the ability of ratepayers to really have a say about how these mandates are complied with, that all adds up to a no vote on this bill. I'd ask you to join me in defeating it.
For discussion on the bill, chair sees none. The author has the right to close.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I neglected to mention that Representative Manning and Representative Frye have joined me on the bill. And I also neglected to mention that all the bill does is restore things to the system of doing business the way we've done it for 30 years. The people who filed the original suits thought they were going to get a narrow decision. They got a very, very broad one. It's a very important bill. I really would urge you to vote for it.
Question is on final passage of the bill. All those in favor will, machines open, vote aye. Those opposed will vote no. Have all the members voted? Tally the roll. Roll call shows 64 ayes, 28 noes. The bill has passed. Shall the title of the bill remain the title of the act? Clerk shall inform the Senate of the passage of the bill. Senate Bill 15, Representative Soliday. Chair hands down on final passage Senate Bill 15.
Senate Bill 15, a bill for enactment in the Indiana Code.
Chair recognizes Representative Soliday to speak on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, this is a much easier bill. Thank you to Representative Jackson, Representative Slager, and Representative Harris for joining me on the bill. Back in the 70s, we set the maximum pay for a housing authority commissioner at $25. This says that the commissions may raise the pay up to $100. Would very much appreciate your vote and would be happy to answer questions.
Further discussion on the bill? Chair sees none. The author has the right to close. He waives it. The question is on final passage of the bill. All those in favor will. Machines open, vote aye. Those opposed will vote no. Representative Judy, would you like to vote? While the members voted, tally the roll. Roll call shows 93 ayes, 0 noes. The bill has passed. Shall the title of the bill remain the title of the act? Clerk shall inform the Senate of the passage of the bill. Senate Bill 171, Representative Cherry. The chair hands down on final passage Senate Bill 171.
Senate Bill 171, a bill for enactment.
Chair recognizes Representative Cherry to speak on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the House. This is a real simple bill, and first of all, I explained that the State Fair is made up of a State Fair Commission, which they take care of the facilities, the grounds year-round. And then we have the State Fair Board, which half are elected and the rest of the other half are appointed. And then we have the State Fair Advisory Committee, and that's what this bill affects. And there's 4 legislators from each chamber sits on this, and I was representing Porter, representing Klinker, and representing Tor, and myself as the 4 from this House. All the bill does, it gives a reporting to the Legislative Council every December of the budget in the accounts of the State Fair Commission as well as the budget, and it's also requires the LSA. We have 1 meeting a year, and the LSA would take the minutes and report that versus the Department of Ag. And I appreciate your support.
For discussion on the bill, Representative Klinker, speak on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much for a very positive bill. It's delightful to have so many people from the House on that committee. And I think we've made some improvements. And if you've gone to the State Fair lately, you'll know that I think we're doing a good job in Indiana in our State Fair, and hope you'll come again this year. Thank you.
For discussion on the bill, Chair sees none. The author has the right to close. He waives it. Question is on final passage of the bill. All those in favor will. When the machine is open, vote aye. Those opposed, vote no. Representative Abbott, would you like to vote? Have all the members voted? Tally the roll. Roll call shows 92 ayes, 0 noes. The bill has passed. Shall the title bill remain in the title of the act? Clerk shall inform the Senate of the passage of the bill. Senate Bill 298, Representative Soliday. The chair hands down Senate Bill 298 for final passage.
Senate Bill 298, a bill for enactment in the Indiana Code.
Chair recognizes Representative Soliday to speak on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House. Senate Bill 298 is a cleanup bill from last year's Senate Bill 273, which was the result of a task force on wastewater. The bill, one, clarifies contributions in aid for construction, grants, and so forth like that cannot be reimbursed. So there's no double dipping. Section 2 provides the Commission and the utility an opportunity to correct adjustments in the event the Commission finds that the adjusted amount is not calculated correctly. Section 3 and 4 just changes the word components to examples. Section 5 specifies that the 10% cap for the municipal and not-for-profit utility applies to the 12-month recovery period. What the bill says is if you've done a capital improvement, you need to recover them within 12 months. And once that's over, the rates go back down, and you can't exceed 10% of the base rate. Section 6 and 7 clarifies that once eligible, disc costs are fully recovered for a municipal and not-for-profit, the adjustment rider shall be removed and the customer bills and rates will be reduced. It ensures the utility recovers the entirety of the commission-approved costs, regardless of if the utility pursues a rate case before cost recovery is completed. It also says that taxes that are incurred, sales tax and property tax by not-for-profits and municipal water companies is recoverable. And this, believe it or not, some of you that are new, municipal utilities get to decide whether they want to be regulated or not. But we probably have 60 that are regulated in one way or another. We have Citizens that is our largest not-for-profit. This is just cleanup where we had lack of clarity in the language. Happy to answer any questions.
Further discussion on the bill. Chair sees none. The author has the right to close. He waives it. The question is on final passage of the bill. All those in favor will. When the machine is open, vote aye. Those opposed will vote no. That's all right. All the members voted. Tally the roll. Roll call shows 94 ayes, 0 noes. The bill has passed. Shall the title of the bill remain in the title of the act? Clerk shall inform the Senate of the passage of the bill. Senate Bill 302, Representative Karickhoff. Chair hands down final passage, Senate Bill 302.
Senate Bill 302, a bill for enactment in the Indiana Code.
Chair recognizes Representative Karickhoff to speak on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the General Assembly. Senate Bill 302 is a bill that prohibits a state agency or a state official from imposing on a charitable organization any filing or reporting requirements that are more stringent or burdensome than those currently in place under state or federal law. It does provide this limitation does not apply to certain requirements imposed in connection with grants, fraud investigations, or the enforcement of an action against a specific charitable organization. It comes from Senator Brown, passed the Senate 50-0, came out of our House Committee 11-0, and I'm proud to have Representative Miller. And in act of congeniality, the representative from Ben Davis has also agreed to come on as a sponsor of the bill. I appreciate your support.
I believe Ben Davis and Kokomo will be playing in a basketball game on Saturday night, right? Yeah. Representative Pack, speak on the bill. Hey, Representative Pack. That was your own leader that called you out. Oh, look at that.
Was that approved? No, it's all in fun. We have a big game coming up Saturday night against Kokomo, but as far as the bill's concerned, I'm very happy to have been asked to be on that, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Further discussion on the bill? Chair sees none. The question is authorized right to close. He waives it. Question is on file. Pass to the bill. All those in favor will. Machines open. Vote aye. Those opposed will vote no. Hey, good catch. While the members vote, the title of the roll. Roll call shows 93 ayes, 1 no. The bill has passed. Title bill remaining the title of the act. Clerk shall inform the Senate the passage of the bill. Senate Bill 316. Dr. Barrett. Chair hands down final passage. Senate Bill 316.
Senate Bill 316, a bill for enactment in the Indiana Code.
Chair recognizes Dr. Barrett. Speak on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd ask for your support on Senate Bill 316. This bill has been several years in the works, and essentially what this does is it allows the Department of Homeland Security and the 911 Board to do a feasibility study. We've been looking at 911 centers and intercommunication between the computer-aided dispatch systems. So your 911 centers are funded by the state up to the point of the 911 call into the community. And then any computer-aided dispatch from that point is the responsibility of the county. And we almost have as many vendors in the state as we have counties. And so we realized during situations of crisis that there's no communication between, or oftentimes not communications between these systems. We studied this last year. This enables the agency to conduct a study with a little bit more focus, looking at inventory of existing CAD equipment, barriers to getting these all on the same page, best practices from other states, dollar amounts, timelines, and working towards what is a final sustainable product. This went through the Senate 48-0. Thanks to Chairman Frye for hearing this in Veteran Affairs Committee, where it passed 12-0. I would like to thank my co-sponsors, Frye, Bartels, and Gore, and I would ask for your support. Thank you.
For discussion on the bill, Representative Frye, speak on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and ladies and gentlemen of the House. This situation is very common across the state, that right across the county line, the 911 systems don't communicate. It's very happens all the time to have a run close to another facility where the more appropriate response would take place, but they don't know about it because they're across the county line or they're across the city limits. And so this is extremely important that we get this information. I would like it to be taken care of much quicker, but Dr. Barrett's right. We got to get it correct. We got to first find out what kind of dispatch systems are out there, what kind of computer-aided dispatch systems are there, and what's it going to take to get them to talk. They have to be able to share data back and forth, and as he said, there are a great deal of vendors out there. So it's going to take a little while, but as soon as we can get it done, I look forward to each of these dispatch centers being able to communicate, and we can begin to save lives. So thank you, Dr. Barrett, and thank you, Mr. Speaker.
For discussion on the bill? Chair sees none. The authorized right to close. He waives it. Question is on final passage of the bill. All those in favor will. Machines open. Vote aye. Those opposed vote no. While the members vote, tally the roll. Roll call shows 94 ayes, 0 noes. The bill has passed. Shall the title of the bill remain the title of the act? Clerk shall inform the Senate passage of the bill. House motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that Senate Bill 317 be returned to the second reading calendar forthwith for the purpose of amendment. Representative May.
You've heard the motion. Is there a second? Is there a second? Is there further discussion on the motion to move Senate Bill 317 back to seconds? Chair sees none. The question is on the adoption of the motion. All those in favor indicate saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Motion is adopted. Senate Bill 332, Representative Manning. Representative Manning passes. Senate Bill 423, House motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that Senate Bill 423 be returned to the second reading calendar forthwith for the purpose of amendment. Representative Aylesworth.
Heard the motion. Is there a second? Question is on the, is there further discussion on the motion to move Senate Bill 423 back to seconds? Chair sees none. The question is on the adoption of the motion. All those in favor indicate saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Motion is adopted. Senate Bill 477, Representative Manning passes. Committee announcements.
Tuesday, March 21st, 2023, 8:30 a.m., room 156C, local government. Senate Bill 154, certain counties purchasing and data processing, Representative Slager. Senate Bill 157, parcels offered at successive tax sales, Representative Slager. Senate Bill 314, address confidentiality, Representative Engleman. Tuesday, March 21st, 2023, 8:30 a.m., House Chamber Public Health. Senate Bill 480, gender transition procedures for minors, Representative King. Tuesday, March 21st, 2023, 8:30 a.m., room 156B, Roads and Transportation. Senate Bill 44, removal of Ileana Expressway references, Representative Aylesworth. Senate Bill 236, emergency contact for certain drivers, Representative Pressel. Senate Bill 290, BMV disclosure of personal information, Representative Frye R. Tuesday, March 21st, 2023, 10:30 a.m., room 156A, Utilities, Energy, and Telecommunications. Senate Bill 33, solar panel and wind power equipment disposal study, Representative Soliday, amend and vote only. Senate Bill 180, allocation of wastewater utility costs, Representative Soliday. Senate Bill 221, energy audit of state government campus, Representative Soliday. Senate Bill 390, commercial solar and wind energy ready communities, Representative Soliday. Wednesday, March 22nd, 2023, 8:30 a.m., room 156A, insurance. Senate Bill 8, prescription drug rebates and pricing, Representative Scheibele. Senate Bill 353, risk management and catastrophic liability funds, Representative Slager. Wednesday, March 22nd, 2023, 10:30 a.m., House Chamber Education. Senate Bill 168, statewide assessment results, Representative Baining, amend and vote. Senate Bill 321, student health matters, Representative Teschka, amend and vote. Senate Bill 342, teacher hiring, Representative Baining, amend and vote. Senate Bill 100, education matters, Representative Baining. Senate Bill 369, automated external defibrillator requirement, Representative Pressel. Senate Bill 443, various education matters, Representative Teschka. Wednesday, March 22nd, 2023, 10:30 a.m., room 156B, natural resources. Senate Bill 184, hunting and fishing license agents, Representative Morrison. Senate Bill 242, DNR best floodplain mapping data, Representative Baird. Senate Bill 412, natural resources matters, Representative Lindauer. Wednesday, March 22nd, 2023, 11 a.m., room 156A, courts and criminal code. Senate Bill 77, recreational use of throwing stars, Representative Devon. Senate Bill 161, unlawful use of a tracking device, Representative McNamara. Senate Bill 415, admissibility of statement by juvenile in custody, Representative Steuerwald. Wednesday, March 22nd, 2023, 1:30 p.m., room 156B, Environmental Affairs. Senate Bill 414, on-site sewage systems and holding tanks, Representative Engleman. Wednesday, March 22nd, 2023, 1:30 p.m., room 404, Ways and Means. Senate Bill 151, foster families, Representative Scheibele, amend and vote. Senate Bill 155, air pollution control, Representative Morrison, amend and vote. Senate Bill 183, unclaimed property matters, Representative Jeter, amend and vote. Senate Bill 46, county option circuit breaker tax credit, Representative McGuire, hearing only. Senate Bill 65, elected officials training fund, Representative Olthoff, hearing only. Senate Bill 78, distributions of public safety income tax revenue, Representative Slager, hearing only. Senate Bill 271, certified technology parks, Representative Snow, hearing only. Senate Bill 417, various tax matters, Representative Thompson, hearing only.
Is there further business coming before the chamber? Chair recognizes Representative Campbell for a motion. You heard the motion and second. All those in favor, in case saying aye. Those opposed, no. Motion is adopted. We are adjourned.